advantage is the advantage is that for each type of problem, students do not have to memorize different formula or different way of writing. That I find is unnecessary load on their memory, and it makes the subject more tedious. The method that we have mentioned is like if two numbers are changing in the same proportion, then their ratio is unchanged, it is the same. So we write it in two different ways, get an equation, and go ahead. That is why we introduce the chapter on ratio and proportions first, and also introduced writing equations and solving them by simple methods before that. I hope the teacher will give the students lot of practice to write different mathematical expressions using a letter in place of number. That again is somewhat new. We have introduced it in the 5th standard, but probably it should be stressed more. And the student should be given more practice in writing expressions which make use of letters. We have indicated in the book quite a few examples. Now I want you to look at some problems to illustrate or to prove what I said just now. Look at page 58. This is a problem on ratios that we have solved. A hostel is to be built for school-going girls. 2 toilets are to be built for every 15 girls. If 75 girls will be living in the hostel, how many toilets will be required? So, the ratio of the toilets to the number of girls is given. Number of toilets by number of girls is 2 by 15. Now, the same ratio is preserved. So, if 75 girls require X toilets, we don't know the number yet, and it is the normal method to denote the unknown number by a letter. We write the same ratio also as X by 75. So, we get the equation X by 75 equal to 2 by 15, and we have already indicated how to solve such equations and get the value for X. Now, if you go to page 63 and see a problem there, it is solved here. 720 of the 1200 children were awarded A grade in maths. What is the percentage of students getting A grade? So this is a problem on percentage. We have already taught that percentage is the ratio of available numbers to the total number. Okay? So this percentage is known as A%. So if 100 is the total number of students, A by 100 is the ratio of students getting A grade to the total number of students. And it is also given that 720 students get A grade out of 1200. So the same ratio again is 720 by 1200. Again we get the equation because we write the same ratio in two ways. Solve it and get the value of A. Go to a problem on simple interest on page 76. Vinita deposited 15,000 rupees in the bank for 1 year and the interest rate was 7% per annum. How much interest will she pay at the end of the year? Again, look at what ratio? Interest by principal. Because her rate of interest is same, that is 7 for 100. So naturally, if the principal grows, the interest grows. They are changing in the same proportion. So the ratio is same, and we, by the same argument, we get if x is the interest that Vinita has to pay, then the ratio of interest to principal is written in two ways. X by 15,000 is equal to 7 by 100, and very similar way of solving gives you the value of interest. I am sure you agree that it is exactly one method which is used for solving all these problems, and no new formula or no new way of writing is required. If we make the mathematics simpler and easier, I am sure that students will like it and students will not run away from it. That was the whole reason for trying to simplify all these commercial activities, commercial transactions, by the use of only one weapon, that is the method of ratio and writing equations. Again, I want to repeat that we have given some problems. Their answers are also given at the end of the book, so that the students can verify whether they have solved their problems correctly. But please think that these problems are only samples and they are not enough if the students want to become real experts in maths. So the teachers will encourage them to solve more and more problems. It is the practice that will make them good mathematicians. Thank you.
I am Dr. Jayashree Atre, member of mathematics for the state. Here with me, Srikant Ratnaparkhi, who is the member of study group for the state. We are discussing some topics related to mathematics for 6th standard.
We are going to discuss about the triangles and their properties. Look at these geometrical figures.
And this is, I think, that this is a triangle.
Yes,
Yeah,
obvious.
yeah,
It means that a closed shape figure having three non-collinear vertices joined by the line segment is called triangle.
correct.
Isn't it, madam?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we are discussing about the types of triangles. Here we draw some triangles on the paper. Madam, could you measure the length side of each triangle?
Yes, I can measure the length of the sides of the triangle. Like this, I can measure length of BC, length of AC, and length of AB. Sir, I can see that all the measures of these sides are same. Therefore, it should have some different name because
Yes.
it is a property of this triangle.
When all sides of a triangle are equal, then we call as a equilateral triangle. I am noting here single line to show that the sign of equality means here AB, BC and AC are of equal measure. Therefore, this triangle is called as equilateral triangle.
Yes.
For the second triangle PQR, here we observe that the length of side PR and length of side QR are of equal measure. Therefore, we show the two sides by double lines marking, that is the sign of equality, to show the equalness of the side PR and QR.
Yeah.
Therefore, such a type of triangle is called as isosceles triangle
Correct.
when two sides are of equal measure.
Yes. For third one, I think that all the measures of all the lengths of these sides are different.
Yes.
Therefore, it should have some different name.
Oh,
What is that name?
very good. When no two sides are of equal measure, then we call that type of triangle, that is scalene triangle. We noted the three different signs of equality, that is single line for xz, double line for xy, and for yz we mark three lines. It means that these three lines having different measures. Such a type of triangle is called as scalene triangle.
Yeah.
While using compass, everyone has used two types of set square. First one is this and this is second one.
Yes, sir. These set squares are in the compass box for every child. And if you look at this set square, this triangle, we say that for this triangle, all sides are having different measure. That means different lengths. And therefore, I think that this is a scalene triangle. For this also, if you look at this, you can ask the child to measure the length of these all sides, and he will find out the two sides of this triangle are of same length, and therefore this is an isosceles triangle. Means in every compass box you will get two types of triangles which are related to sides, and those triangles are scalene triangle and isosceles triangle.
If we observe this set square seriously or broadly, then we find that there is one angle exactly of 90 degree, that is right angle. Here also we can
So
found
in this set square also, this triangle, if we look at by this way, this is also right angle. That means these two set square, these two triangles are right angle triangles, because in these two triangles one angle is right. Therefore we can define for the right angle triangle. Then if one angle is right angle in a triangle, then we say that this triangle is a right angle triangle.
yes, definitely. If we observe the second angle of a shape, then we will find that this angle is greater than 90. When one angle is greater than 90 degree, then we call as a obtuse angle triangle. And last one is acute angle triangle. It shows every angle is less than 90 degree. It means that if we observe the three angles of a triangle, then we find that the measure of each angle is less than 90. Therefore, we call as a acute angle triangle.
Now look at this, sir. In this case, this triangle, if you look at this triangle, here this triangle is isosceles triangle as well as this triangle is right angle triangle. Therefore, if you look at one triangle, you will get two different type of triangles, and we can name that isosceles as well as right angle triangle.
Madam, you can find here also for this shape, which type of shape it represents.
It is a equilateral triangle.
Yes, and by observing the angle of that triangle, you can say that each angle is less than 90. Therefore, this is acute angle triangle.
And ask the students to measure the angle by showing this type of shapes, this type of figures, and then conclude that the child should conclude that this is a acute angle triangle or isosceles triangle or right angle triangle. That means they will classify the triangles with the help of sides as well as with the help of angles.
Yes.
In this triangle also we can see.
These are the cutting of triangular shape,
Yeah.
which shows the three types of triangles. That is acute angle triangle, right angle triangle, and obtuse angle triangle.
And at this stage, every teacher, he should remember that you show the triangle formed by three sticks as well as triangle formed by this shape, that means sheet. The triangular sheet also you show, and triangular only triangle, that means having only three sides, because this part is interior point, interior, and interior is not explained in our syllabus. Therefore, we are considering this triangle only here.
Yes, madam. Our next topic is observe this figure carefully. Here we cut a triangle such a way that each angle is less than 90. Then second one is, here is a green marking. Madam, look at this. Here is a green marking. If we take any point inside the triangle and join it by the other sides and cut it by the green lines, then we found three top parts of that triangle, such that if we put in a line or if you arrange in a straight line, it will shows that it forms a straight line. which is called straight line angle. Hence, we can say that the sum of all three angles of a triangle is 180. Madam, can you explain in another way?
Yeah. If we are having a triangle, you can give triangular sheet to the child and make this activity with the help of, that means every child can do it. Give them triangular sheets to the child, then ask them to color the vertex at the vertices, 3 vertices. Then ask him to fold this like this, that one vertex to the one side here, and then after touching to the this side opposite to this vertex, then again fold this part to this vertex, again fold this part to this vertex, such that they will coincide here, and then after coincidence you will get a rectangle, and here we are getting a line. This line is a straight line, and we know that the measure of the straight angle is 180. And then if you unfold it, you can see that this sum of these measures of triangle, angles of the triangle, that is 180. Therefore, this activities is very important for understanding the property of triangle. Construction of triangle is not included in our syllabus. We are looking at the properties only, and child should form those properties. Remember this, because construction of a triangle we are not considering. We are considering if the triangle is constructed, what will happen. And this here we are getting the construction of triangle. That means already constructed triangle. This is a constructed triangle. And then if you look at this, these are 3 sides. And if you look at this, these are also 3 sides. 3 sides, 3 segments. If you try to join these two, they will not join. Why? This type of questions you can ask to the child. Here it is not joining. Here we will get, look at this. There is a gap in between that. Why we can't construct the triangle? We can't construct the triangle because these 2 sides are not intersecting. Means here ask the child to construct some property, or ask the child that what do you get from this construction? Can you construct the triangle? You can't. Why? And after that he will say that these 2 are not intersecting, means sum of the measures, sum of the lengths of these 2 sides is less than the length of this side. Therefore that construction is impossible, and therefore he will get that property.
Yes. In our textbook, we introduce such type of questions by observing the length of the 3 sides. Or can you tell that this triangle is constructed or not? Means the student is well aware of that property. When the sum of the 2 sides is greater than the third one, then only then we can construct a triangle. But in this case, only sum of these 2 sides is less than the third one, because we here observe here there is a gap between the 2 sides, means the sum of these 2 sides is obviously less than the third side.
Yes.
That's why this instrument useful for constructing the triangle, as well as the concept of student get clear by using such type of apparatus. That is, first of all we constructed or we studied the types of triangle by using the sides as well as by measuring the angles. Second one is sum of all angles of a triangle is 180. This property is studied by this apparatus or experiment or in the textbook given activities. And last one is sum of the length of the 2 sides is always greater than the length of the third side. That is the self experience given by the taken by the student, such that the construction of geometrical figures is more easily and quite happily.
That means we have to use that, that means ask the child to do some activities, and then they will say that those properties at their own. And this is the constructivist approach included in our syllabus, and it is expected, and all these expectations should be clear from the child. Okay.
Thank you.
In 6th standard syllabus, quadrilateral chapter is included. Here we are expecting something more from the child because quadrilateral already they have learned in up to 5th standard.
We start our topic quadrilateral by showing them some points on the hardboard or plain paper. Students say that mark any 4 points on the paper or hardboard such a way that no 3 points are collinear. Means in that case if we draw 4 points here, you will see that point A, point B, point C and point D are marked on this hardboard. When we join by the line segment, we get such a type of figure which shows a quadrilateral ABCD. Why it shows quadrilateral? Because if we put a line segment along with the two vertices, then remaining two vertices are one side of the line. Means if we put a line along with the AD,
Yeah.
then we find that the remaining point B and C is
They
at
lie
the,
on the one
same
side of
line
the-
or
one side of
of the
Line.
line. Very good.
And if you say do that for everything, that means if you draw the line for AB here, then C and D, these points are lying on the one side.
One side.
According to this, if you construct this figure, that figure is called the quadrilateral and it is a closed figure.
Yes. After naming the point, we can read as a quadrilateral A, B, C, D or quadrilateral B, C, D, A or quadrilateral C, D, A, B or quadrilateral D, A, B, C. You can read as a clockwise as well as anti-clockwise. Means this is, you can start of the reading of by quadrilateral by any vertices. There is no fixed vertices which will start the reading of quadrilateral. Here some quadrilaterals are shown by us. There are two angles at the base of the quadrilateral. If we found these two angles, then we find that for this angle and this angle, one arm is common. Means this angle carries this arm and this angle also carries this arm. Means this arm is a common arm for these two angles. Therefore, we call as a adjacent angle.
Yes.
Means when one arm is common between the two angles, then such a type of angles are called adjacent angles. If you think about the opposite angles of a quadrilateral, in these two angles, no arm is common. That is, for this angle, these angles, both arms are unique, and for this angle, both arms are unique. No arm is common. Such angles are called as opposite angles of a quadrilateral. And when we join opposite angles by a straight line or segment, then we call as a diagonal. If we join these two vertices, then it will form the diagonal, as well as for this, if we join the two opposite vertices, it will also form a diagonal of that quadrilateral.
That means quadrilateral has two diagonals and these are adjacent angles and these are opposite angles of the quadrilateral.
Yes. Set square.
Now look at this triangular shape. This is a triangle, this is a triangle. And in triangle part, we have already learned that sum of the measures of all angles of a triangle is 180. For this triangle, it holds good. For this triangle, holds good. Now look at the peculiarity of these two triangles. If you here for the set square, every student he is having these two types of set squares in their compass box. If you join this part, this side of this triangle and this side of this triangle, they are same. If you join this, you will get a shape, and which is nothing but the quadrilateral. This is a quadrilateral. Now here we get one more property of quadrilateral, that sum of measures of all angles of a triangle is 180 and there are two triangles, therefore we can make the twice of that, and therefore sum of measures of angles of a quadrilateral is 360. Therefore this property they can find it out from the actual activity. They can measure the angles of this quadrilateral with the help of protractor, and they can conclude that sum of the measures of all angles of the quadrilateral is 360. Therefore, we get that property from this, and we can give so many activities related to this. Okay.
After that, there is the activity for our student on the ground as well as flowers. 5 petal flower or 5 students standing on a ground. It means that we are concerning about the 5 points. Up to what we are going to concern about the 4 points only. Now if we put another point, means 5th point, then a pentagonal shape is formed, that is called pentagon. Penta means 5. It means that when we add a 1 point, then there is addition of a line also, and the figure, the closed figure having 5 points and 5 segments, that is we get the pentagon. If we increase the number of vertices, the number of lines are also increases, and in such a way that we got a numbers of points and vertices as well as lines, which shows if we put a GeoGebra software and this question if we find out, then it will find that the number of points collecting, and when the thousands of points are collecting, the complete closed figure shows like a circle. This will happen when we take the practical of that as a GeoGebra software.
In our textbook, ICT tools are introduced, and in ICT tool, GeoGebra is introduced. That GeoGebra is very nice software, we can say, which is free also, and with the help of that software, every student can learn all the properties related to geometry as well as algebra, but it helps more in geometry, I think. And therefore, these type of polygons, that pentagon, hexagon, if we consider the points on the GeoGebra, then pentagon can be formed, hexagon can be formed, and then so many sided figure which forms a multi-side, that is n-sided polygon we can prepare, and we can show with the help of GeoGebra. I am Dr. Jayashree Atre, committee member of mathematics. Good morning, everybody. 6th standard textbook, newly prepared, and we are discussing about the some units included in this 6th standard mathematics textbook. Whole syllabus of 6th standard is divided in some areas, and here we are going to discuss the sum area, and one of those areas is geometry. Units in geometry, here basic concepts in geometry, triangles, quadrilaterals, constructions, and three-dimensional shapes, these units are included in 6th standard. Now here we are discussing all those areas, but in first session we will discuss about basic concepts in geometry, that is point, line, and plane. Remember that here discussion is very important related to the scope and limitations, which is in the scope and limitations of the unit. That means point, line, and plane, these are actually abstract concepts. But at this stage, that means for the higher primary, this is the 6th standard is the first step of higher primary, and in this 6th standard, what is to be explained? This is very important. We are not giving definitions of point, line, and plane, which are basic concepts in mathematics. We are assuming for ourselves that these are the things which can be drawn on the paper for our convenience. Here you can see that point, line, and plane. This is the thing. Now we will discuss about point. Here we are not giving definitions, and you have to consider that we need to understand the point only. Then how can we plot the point, how can we draw the point. That is the only we have to show by the tiny dot drawn by the tip of the pencil, and you can show that these are the points. Points can be written, that means point can be shown